Hey Gemini, thank you for joining me. This is a general reading for the full moon, which is coming up on the 7th of May. I'll be doing a love reading for you guys next week, and also the new moon reading towards the end of the month. So hit subscribe if you want to stay up to date and find out what messages are coming through for you guys this month. While I was shuffling, I got the image of my own face staring back at me, and with pink circles above my head, and the feeling I got is that there's some soul searching that you need to do, that in this particular situation you need to take a look at yourself and the part you played in it. So we'll get back to that, because there's definitely a message. This is the card that I pulled for your overall energy, which is fitting with this eye and the circle above it. So there's definitely a message in that for you. We'll get to that at the end. What I can see though is you guys feeling disappointed because a relationship or situation hasn't turned out the way that you expected or had hoped. It would seem that that this relationship started strongly and passionately, but it seems like it's come to an end before it even began, and you've been left feeling disappointed and unsupported. There may be some of you, this is a really specific message, but there may be some of you who have fallen pregnant, and the other person is walked away or is not facing up to that responsibility, because I see you guys left here in this situation. Obviously that's not going to resonate with all of you, but I see you guys left in this situation now, having to look at what options you have, what resources you've got now to support yourself, because you've been left unsupported by this person in this situation. They haven't stepped up. That's the feeling I get. And if it's not a relationship, it's just a situation that has not ended in the way that you had hoped, or definitely the way it began. It has turned out to be something altogether different. But I feel like what you're realizing, or what you'll come to realize, is that you rushed into this relationship too quickly without thinking it through. I felt like there was a lot of passion there, and that you really rushed into it and were really largely just driven by passion, and maybe it turned a blind eye to how it actually was, in the passion and in the in the heat of the moment, or in your impulsive actions or whatever. I feel like you deluded yourself in a way. You turned a blind eye to who this person really was, or the other person seems to have maybe not been completely honest about who they were. Maybe talked the talk, but clearly hasn't walked the walk, because I can see the other person turning their back on this relationship and on their responsibilities. They are walking away, and like I said, there's some delusion here. They weren't completely honest in how they felt, or what they were in it for. They weren't honest about their intentions and what they were wanted. I think they just sort of talked a bit of shit, to be honest. But you were happy at the time to, you wanted to believe that. I think you definitely wanted to believe it. So whilst they may have been not entirely honest, I think there was a little bit of self-delusion as well, and this is where we come back to this, you know, you doing some soul searching and looking at the part you played in this, because you've got a choice to make in this situation. You need to decide whether you are going to, you know, cut away from this relationship and go it on your own, work out whether you know, have you got the resources, and are you willing, you know, can you do this independently of this person, or is this worth fighting for? Is this connection worth fighting for? That's where I feel like you're at, or you're going to find yourself, is having to make that really tough choice. You know, do you go it alone? Do you have the means, and are you strong enough to do this independently? Is that what you want to do? Do you want to do this independently, or do you want to fight for this connection? Is it worth fighting for? And on top of the deck here was 3 of Cups and 2 of Cups. So I feel like there will be a reunion. I feel like you will pursue this person and this relationship and try and bring it back together. And if you do, if that is the choice that you make in this situation, you're just being called to realize the part that you played in creating this situation. Realize the part that you played, that maybe you did rush into it, maybe you did delude yourself, and maybe you need to call this person on their true intentions and feelings, and recognize it for what it is. You need to, if you do want to pursue this, you need to go in with eyes wide open about who this person is, what their intentions are, what role they're going to play in your life, and how this connection is going to play out. So, Gemini, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that helped you. Just quietly, I feel like if there is a baby involved, then it's a little girl. It's, you know, these pink circles that I saw kind of make sense to me now. But feel free to leave comments, and like I said, I'll be doing love reading next week, so we might get a little bit more information, a bit more of a story unfolding around this situation. So thanks again for joining me.